Good morning, everyone. Thanks again for joining me today. I am Zoe. I own Beautiful Healthy Home. That's an online retail site. And today I am chatting to Rachel Gilbert from the Life Enricher for part of Ethical Consumer Week. Hi, Rachel.
Hi Zoe, how are you?
I'm really good, thanks. So good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Absolute pleasure. It's lovely to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. So today we're here as part of Ethical Consumer Week, and yeah, we're going to be chatting about the ethics of your business. But before we dive in, would you like to tell the watchers a bit more about your business, the Life Enricher?
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much. What a lovely opportunity to talk about food, which is my great life passion. So it's really lovely to be here. Thank you.
Lovely.
So I set up the Life Enricher about 18 months ago. Before that, I had a corporate career as a retailer. So if I think about all the things that I'm passionate about, I'm passionate about people. So definitely being a retailer was always great in terms of helping people and
Yeah,
helping people.
yeah, yeah.
Um, if I then think about right back to childhood, the things that I was really passionate about was my granddad was a farmer. So unbeknown to me at the time, I learned about nature and the land and bees and veg and all that kind of stuff. Obviously went all over my head, but somewhere in there it's deep
Oh,
rooted.
soaked in, yeah, absolutely.
Dormant for 25 years doing the corporate career. Um, if I think back to school, my favourite subject was biology, and human biology. So I've always had an interest in our amazing bodies,
Mm,
the nurturing power of food. I've got a good commercial brain in my head, so I absolutely understand business and helping businesses be successful. But ultimately, you can only do any of that stuff if your body is healthy. So I think if I take all of the things I've learned over the last 25, 30 years, Life Enricher is very much the product of that.
mm,
Uh, and so, as I say, set it up 18 months ago, having got out of corporate world, taking the bits of corporate that have relevance, but actually seeing that people are people. And in the current climate in the UK, sort
mm.
of what we viewed ourselves being ever more important. So I set the business up with one sole purpose, which is to help busy people eat better. And if I look back to the career I had before, it's one of the first thing that goes, you're busy, work demands come first, home demands come first. What you eat goes by the wayside.
Yeah.
And I just thought there has to be a better way because it's so important what you eat in terms of how you perform in your body and your health.
Mhm.
But actually, so many people are doing it badly. So I set the Life Enricher up to help busy people eat better.
Brilliant. Wow, great. So coming from that corporate background and working with those large corporations, I'm not sure if there's as many ethics in those days. That's what I certainly felt in the retail world. But I mean, setting up your own business, it means you've got absolute control and you can decide how, you want your business to grow and who you're going to work with. So what are your ethics for your
Yeah.
business and yeah, how do you approach it?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And you're right, to sort of be liberated from that corporate framework and be able to live to your own values is a huge part of being a small business owner, as I'm sure you are, you understand that too. The thing that is most important to me in terms of the ethics of the Life Enricher is to educate people that this amazing body that we have
Mm,
is the most important gift and the most important thing we have. Without our health, without our bodies working, you might as well just give up. Who wants to be 90 but have 40 years of
mm,
chronic poor health?
yeah.
So we have this amazing body and we've lost so much touch
Hmm. Yeah.
about the importance of it and the direct effect we can have morning, noon, or night by feeding it what it needs. And so the ethics of Life Enrich are absolutely about education. I absolutely do not believe in telling people what to do. When I open any bit of marketing that's telling people you should do this, you should do that, that is absolutely not what I believe. I believe in educating people and letting people make their own free choice.
Hmm.
So at the absolute heart of Life Enricher, it's about food education, cookery education, and supermarket, how to sort of navigate our way around the UK food environment, which is tricky. And then obviously, I mean, that's the overarching umbrella, real core ethics of the business. associated within that then obviously become about making sure our food is sourced ethically and that we are eating food that has been well considered for the planet, as well as for people's wallets. Actually, that's the other part of Life Enricher, is we are so susceptible, particularly in the UK, to huge corporates. So the corporates in the UK stock 85% of the products in an average supermarket.
Yeah.
5 big companies, Coca-Cola, Unilever, we'd be lost without them. I'm not criticizing them, but we are absolutely in a bit of a war that we don't know the rules of the game of. So, you know, we are walking around the supermarket like supermarket zombies. We are filling our trolleys with things that we don't really understand what they do to our bodies. And we are making a lot of money for the big corporates. And as I say, the absolute heart of Life Enricher is to help people navigate their way through that, through health, wealth, and eating well for our planet.
Brilliant. And well, you touched on the cost implications, because we are facing a cost of living crisis, and this is what this whole discussion with the ethical consumer is about, is how particularly people on low incomes, you know, how can they eat better? How can they make sure that they've got like better, healthier life? How can we all do that on a budget? You know, we're all finding a struggle in terms of higher fuel costs, etc. So the cost of living crisis, the implication on the consumer. Yeah, are you finding that when you're talking to people, and what's your advice to them?
It's obviously so prevalent for everybody at the moment. And again, you can't overly criticise the supermarkets. They are hugely being hit as well by cost of living. So this is about understanding, how do I eat well whilst on a budget? And what I'm absolutely finding with the consumer is, if the consumer wants to carry on buying the same things that they were buying this time 6 months ago or this time 12 months ago, and there is a closed mindset there, then those items in their basket will be costing more money, because that's the reality of fertilizer costs going up and distribution costs going up, etc., etc. However, the vast majority of people that I'm coming across don't have that closed mindset. They've got a very open mindset, saying, I want to learn how to do this better. I want to learn how to do this cheaper. And actually, in terms of helping those people, there are some very easy ways that you're not having to radically change your diet. You're not having to radically change what you're buying every week. It's understanding, how do I eat less takeaways, less meat, less processed food, to be able to cook more food from scratch, and actually to have less food waste at the end of each week as well, because we waste a phenomenal amount of food in the UK. We are the third largest consumer society in the Western world with food waste. So I'm not trying to say to people, you absolutely need to do anything radically different. You can dial up having less food waste, eating less meat, maybe 1 or 2 days a week, not eating meat or fish, because that's the highest price in terms of getting a good protein source. And we absolutely don't have to be eating meat every day. And really understanding that planning your food as well means you have less food waste. You will navigate the supermarket better because you'll be shopping in a very conscious state with a shopping list. It's not difficult stuff, but it's skills maybe that we have lost our way with. Just we're busy, and this stuff goes by the by. So in terms of the cost of living, yes, absolutely, of course, consumers are being affected. Everybody's being affected. And those people that don't necessarily want to learn new ways of doing things will be feeling it in their pocket. But the vast majority of people are saying, okay, how can I do this better? I still want to eat well, but I want to be able to, maintain my food bill each week.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing for me has been food planning, which I say planning in the sense that I'd always planned the same shop for years on end, and now it's like, because it was your advice, the one-to-one advice that you gave me, was just like, you need to sit down and figure out what meals you're having and stick to that. And that's so helpful, especially with food waste as well. And also not being scared to have the same meal maybe twice, or have it for lunch, or like the leftovers, and make something slightly different with it. So just being creative. And actually, I find it more enjoyable now, whereas at first I found it slightly terrifying. It was I wanted to open the fridge and just make something. But now it's great to have. I've got a little menu in the kitchen.
Yeah, interesting.
As well. So there's no pressure from them to say, oh, can we have fish and chips tonight? I'm like, no, that's what we're having. It's prepped. And if you want fish and chips, put it on the menu for Saturday. Yeah. So it's
even if you start off with a day or two, this is the thing. I mean, I completely get, maybe planning a whole week feels really scary. But even if it's just, you know what, if it's Thursday and Friday that you plan, because they're the days generally by which people are like, you know what, by 6 o'clock in the evening, when most people have had a busy day at work, they open the fridge and it's like, oh, I don't know what, you've got no decisions left, you've got no energy left, you've got no brain space left. And invariably, that's when we all make bad decisions, me included. And so this is really just helping people understand the value of planning. If you then shop for that, you will open your fridge and actually, I know tonight I'm going to have ... because the ingredients are already there, and you're much more inclined to eat what's there, knowing you planned it.
Takeaway or
take the decision away. Taking the decision away really helps people. And then that way as well, you can not have any leftovers at the end of the week if you're shopping just for your food plan. So I'm really pleased to hear it's been good. That's good. Well done.
Great. Yeah. Being really good. So so with regards to the ethics in your business then, in your model, how are you managing to maintain them? So, you know, there's obviously other pressures that you're feeling, but are you managing to maintain them, and are you having to tweak them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a relatively simple business model. Obviously, I do things outside of food workshops. I do a bit of one-to-one work with people. But actually, the vast majority of what I do is education. You know, I have some printed materials that may be costing me slightly more, but actually my overheads are pretty low. So I'm not necessarily personally affected in the way that some other businesses would, with increased transport costs, for example, or supplier costs. So I'm very fortunate in that respect. And if anything, the workshops that I run have shown me the need at the moment is probably the greatest it's ever been to help people save money with their food shop, know how to plan their food, to try new things, to eat less meat. As I say, there are absolutely no downsides. There are no downsides for the planet. There are no downsides for people's health, and there's no downsides for people's wallets. So I'm actually very comfortable at the moment that I'm able to navigate the cost of living personally, because, as I say, I have relatively low overheads, but it makes me more motivated and even more driven to want to help more people at the moment, where you just see, I think it's probably as well, I just see how much people are confused through nobody's fault. If you don't learn at school how to eat well for what your body needs, we are now in a consumer society where 70% of the food in people's baskets are ultra processed food. You know, we are so vulnerable to marketing messages when we are tired and, you know, got no brain space left at 6 o'clock. So the other thing that I'm so motivated about at the moment is being able to help people navigate their way through all of that marketing rubbish. I don't want to knock the supermarkets, and I don't want to knock the big consumers, because we'd be lost without them. We've just gone through a pandemic, and, you know, we all managed to feed ourselves. It was phenomenal. They're playing a really important role. But the amount of marketing mismessaging, oh, I should be having this, I should be having that, it's just absolutely, so to help people cut through that, I think at the moment also is really valuable.
It's also all the added preservatives and chemicals that you get in processed foods that, you know, I'm really and trying to steer yourselves away from picking up the easy options.
I know. We've been told for 30 or 40 years, you're time poor, and therefore look over here, I've got this great time-saving thing for you, whether it's a frozen thing or, and actually, I think most people I meet know now they want to eat less processed food. They kind of want to eat more whole food, but they just don't quite know how to. They don't have the confidence or the inspiration. So, as I say, education at the moment is just, it keeps me so motivated, because the more people I can help get through the cost of living and hopefully learn skills, once they do learn skills, for the rest of their life, which is you don't need to buy takeaway food or Deliveroo or, you know, ultra processed food. There is another way. You can still get a healthy meal on the table in half an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. So if anybody wants to actually contact you directly, you have an Instagram page, Life Enricher. You have a website. So is that the best way to contact you if somebody wants a one-to-one, or what else are you offering on your Instagram?
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. I mean, in terms of offering one-to-ones, yes, I absolutely love working with people one-to-one. But also, as I say, I run a course of 6 workshops. I'm in the middle of a series of them now. I'm running them again from the beginning of January It's 6 weeks, 90 minutes per session, really small learning groups, and we will cover everything from how to food plan to how to navigate around your supermarket, what your body needs, and how to save money on food. So hopefully adding real value to people, which if you take the whole conversation full circle is what I set up the Life Enricher for, because it's really important to me that people make their own choices, but do it with an educated mind. And if people don't have educated minds, it's nobody's fault. It's the society we've been in for the last 40, 50 years, where those big multinationals have taken over our food system. So if you're interested in learning how to do it better and better for the planet and more cheaply, then absolutely, I'd love to hear from someone.
Yeah, and I'd highly recommend you as well. I find you incredibly warm and open and full of advice. So I've really enjoyed our sessions. And yeah, I hope to join you on your workshops next year.
Warmly
Thank you. So as a roundup then, I mean, I think we've probably covered it, but 3 top tips you can give to the consumer.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah, if you do nothing else, my 3 top tips would be, please try and plan your food, whether it's for one day, a week, it's entirely up to you, but you will make much better decisions by planning your food. So my number 1 top tip is to plan your food. My second top tip would be to maybe try and look at alternative protein sources other than meat and fish, which are the most expensive. So maybe try and eat vegetarian food once or twice a week. Have a look at, you can get amazing protein from cheese and milk and yogurt and pulses and veg, fruit and veg, so some fruit and veg. So yeah, maybe have a look at not eating meat a couple of days a week. It will save you money. And then my third top tip would be, in terms of eating more plants, just try and eat as many different types of plants as you can in a week, because your body will thank you for it. So in the 3 tips, you're saving time, money, energy, health, and money. So hopefully useful.
Brilliant top tips. And on that last one, actually, sorry to cut in, I remember you said that. You said about trying to up your number of fruit and veg, and myself and my parents, we all did a list as to how many we'd eaten in a day, and wasn't quite where you needed us to be, but it was not bad, and I was quite proud of it. But actually you've sparked me into doing that again, because that was really good fun. I got the kids to write down as well by the end of the day. It was like, what kinds of fruit and veg, even raisins, or it was really useful. So I'm
so pleased your body wants diversity. So eat a banana on a Monday, an apple on a Tuesday, a plum on a Wednesday, rather than just eating the same thing every day. And even that mentality will be really helpful to your health. So well done. Gold star for you and the kids. Brilliant.
It's been great chatting to you, Rachel. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for watching for the Ethical Consumer Week. It's been great to have you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed.
You're welcome. Take care.
Thanks, Zoe. Bye now.
Thanks. Bye-bye.